So the other day I did a video of all the pros of living here in West Hartford, Connecticut. And today I'm doing a video of the cons of living here. And now I'm not doing this to dog the town by any means. I personally live here. I love it here. As a realtor, I think it's important for people that are coming in that may be new to know what folks that live here love about the town. And I also think it's important for them to know what sometimes frustrates people about the town. And the reason for that is real estate is such a big investment. A lot of times it's long term. I think it's important for people to know what they're getting into from all angles. So real quick, before I get into the cons list, if you could just click subscribe to the channel. I'm committed to giving you weekly video updates of everything that's great about West Hartford and information for you to learn more about the town. And don't be shy. Ask questions, call, text, email. We get calls every day from people like you asking questions about real estate, the town. I want to be a resource for you. So, do not hesitate to call. So let's get into these cons list. I wrote down 5 of what I hear are the most common cons for living in West Hartford. So the first one I wrote down, this one is for pretty much all of Connecticut. It's the weather. If you don't like the cold, if you're one of those people that can't deal with it, it makes you angry. We do get 4 seasons here, and the winters get cold. We get snow, we get blizzards, we get heavy winds, which can sometimes lead to power outages and trees down. And if that's not your thing, that's a deal breaker. I think that's important to know. It can get cold here in the winter. That being said, the cold creates some opportunities for people that like to ski, sled, snowboard, ice skate. There's a lot of fun, hike, snowshoe. There's a lot of really cool ways to enjoy the winter. If you're into that up here in the Northeast that you can't in some other parts of the country. But if you don't like the cold, it doesn't really matter, right? So I think that's important to, put out there. Number 2 is the taxes. West Hartford's taxes are one of the higher mill rates in the state. And Connecticut, compared to a lot of other states in the country, are on the higher side in terms of taxes. Now, if you compare it to some of the Northeast states, we're not too bad if you compare it to New York, New Jersey, states like that. But if you're going to compare it to a Florida or some of the Midwestern states, then our tax rate is higher. Now, with that, here in Connecticut, you do get more services. They do keep the town really well maintained. There's sidewalks, the roads are in good shape. School systems are highly rated according to a lot of websites that rate school systems like niche.com. So they do use that money to better the town. But if high taxes is something that rubs you the wrong way, not only is West Hartford maybe not the place to be, but Connecticut in general, as many of our towns and cities do have a higher tax rate compared to the country. So something to be aware of. Number 3, traffic. Certainly not LA traffic. It's nothing like that. But the town of West Hartford is set up like a grid, which means there are lots of stoplights. Now, this is great in terms of, walkability, biking. There's lots of sidewalks and paths. For driving, if you're going to go across town from one side of town to other, depending on the time of day, it could take you 15, 20 minutes to get from one side of town to the other, just because of all the stoplights and traffic, which isn't the end of the world, but it's something to be aware of if you're trying to plan a commute to work, get to highways, things like that. Number 4, this is it's a big one in terms of real estate. A lot of people don't realize this one. We have a lot of older homes here. There is very few new construction options. There's even very few newer construction options, like homes built 2000 and later. There's a lot of charm, old quality built construction, colonials, Tudors, homes built in the 20s and 50s and everywhere in between here in town. Just when the town was established, this was the main part of the homes that were developed. So if you want the brand new homes with the high vaulted ceilings, newer construction, there's not a lot of those options here. You might want to go to one of our surrounding suburbs like a Farmington and Avon, Simsbury. They do have more of those developments. So the older homes have, they can have smaller closets. They can have more boxy interior designs. Not a lot of them are opened up. And this comes as a surprise to people because West Hartford is so highly rated as a town. So when people are excited about living here, if you don't appreciate the older homes, and some people like myself, I personally love the character and charm of the old homes, but if you're not one of those people, you can become discouraged and end up going to a different town. And the last thing I wrote down, which is it's also a Connecticut problem, but there's no professional, football, basketball, baseball teams here. We do have a women's WNBA team here, which is great. We have a soccer team, but there is not one of the traditional football, baseball, basketball teams. So if you're a big sports fan, you like going to close sporting events, there's not one here in West Hartford or Connecticut. I will say there is a beautiful minor league yard goat stadium that was built in Hartford a few years back, which is, 5-10 minute ride from most parts of West Hartford. That's very close. And we're also nicely positioned between New York and Boston. So we have a mix of Yankee fans, Red Sox fans, or myself, Met fan, because we're right in the center of both. And that goes for Giants, Jets, Patriots, and your other sports teams as well. There's a lot of choices that are within reach, but none here in our state. So those are some of the cons that came to mind and that I hear a lot for people looking at West Hartford. If you have any questions at all about the city, the state, real estate, I'm happy to be a resource for you and help you with the decision, whether it's my team or myself. We're here all day answering questions for people just like you who are thinking about moving here. Have a great day.